Steve Carter here, your host for this podcast. This is additional information that I've added after I recorded the podcast episode that you'll be hearing momentarily. With all of the bloodshed, the pain, the carnage that is occurring in Ukraine, this episode is about all of us helping to create a morphic field of peace and love to counteract the morphic field of war and suffering. As I've been tracking events, I've decided I'm going to host a series of healing circles, online healing circles, for the purpose of creating a positive, loving, morphic field of peace and love to counteract the morphic field of war and suffering. If you would like to be notified when I host these live streams, I ask you to please create an email. A blank email is fine. And in the subject line, simply put Online Healing Circle. I will be back in touch with you with details about the when and the how. Whether or not you choose to join these online healing circles, there are things we all can do. And that's what I talk about in this episode of EFT Tapping Junction. Stephen Carter here, your host for EFT Tapping Junction. This episode is going to be significantly different than previous episodes and probably future episodes. I'd like to get right to the point. I'm asking all of our listeners to participate in an intention experiment, an intention tapping for peace in the Ukraine, and indeed peace throughout Eastern Europe. As you're undoubtedly aware, Russia has invaded Ukraine. While there's no accurate way to assess how many people have already been killed and wounded, certainly there are hundreds, if not thousands, of casualties so far, and this incursion, this invasion, is only a couple of days old as I record this. In past years and decades, there have been an array of different efforts to apply meditation, energy healing, Reiki, quantum touch, etc., to stop war and to stop violence. Researcher Lynne McTaggart, who has been very active in an effort she has championed for years called the Intention Experiment, has launched an intention experiment for Ukraine. I'll have the page that Lynne has created for this effort linked up in the show notes. You should be able to find her website at Lynne, Lynne, McTaggart, McTaggart, LynneMcTaggart.com. I'll have the intention experiment for Ukraine, that page directly linked up in the show notes. I would encourage you to visit that page and read through what Lynne has created. On that page, she describes a number of different efforts throughout several decades where holding an intention for peace has shown significant statistical results according to all of the data that could be tracked. What I'm hopeful that you will do is participate in the intention experiment, or creating an intention for peace in Ukraine. The specific intention statement that Lynne has come up with is, quote, "Our intention is that peace be immediately, completely, and permanently restored in Ukraine with no further loss of life, and that the country maintain its sovereignty as an independent, democratic nation." The idea is to bring the collective intention, the collective energetic power of a large group of people together to bring about that intended reality. This page was put up on February 25th, and I'll read part of how this program is working. So today, February 25th, I'll be running this live on my Facebook page. And by the way, I will have that Facebook page linked up in the show notes. So please come join me. Intention experiments are always free to all. Every day thereafter, please join thousands of us from around the world from wherever you are at the same time, and that's 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Western Europe, and hold the following intention for 10 minutes. That intention again, our intention is that peace be immediately, completely, and permanently restored in Ukraine with no further loss of life, and that that country maintain its sovereignty as an independent democratic nation. If you're outside of those time zones, find out the time in your local area, and she has a time zone converter. If you don't believe that intention can lower violence and restore peace in an area, consider when we focused on Afghanistan for a week on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 in 2011, we focused on two provinces of Helmand and Kandahar, the strongholds of the Taliban. After our experiment, according to NATO statistics, civilian casualties in those two provinces fell by an average of 37%, compared with the casualty rate in August of 2011, and attacks with explosive devices fell by 16%, than the average attack rate from the 2+ years before. She goes on with some other efforts. I encourage you to participate in this effort and do whatever your heart is calling for you to do to help create an environment and energy field of peace. I will also have linked up in the show notes a blog post by Dr. Patricia Carrington dated February 23rd, 2020, and I do believe that this was probably updated because she had transitioned prior to that. The title of this post, Distance Healing and Surrogate EFT. Pat goes into surrogate tapping, distant healing, and she talks about an array of different successful efforts to include prayer, Reiki, shamanic healing, healing touch, Qigong, and an array of other methods. So what does this all boil down to? Extending your heart field, your energy field, through whatever method or methods you feel called to, whether that's meditation, EFT, or other tapping methods, distant healing, Reiki, if you're familiar with that process, quantum touch, whatever method you're called to include, of course, prayer. I would encourage you to join the international effort to help bring peace and stability to Ukraine and to all of Eastern Europe. One important aspect of this work is your own self-regulation, to be calm, confident, and hold a sense of peace in your own mind, body, spirit, and in your heart. One way to create that sense of peace and calm within your own physical body is to begin tapping on the karate chop point. And don't rush this. Really feel the connection. Really get in touch with your physical senses of touch and release. Touch and release. And then use a setup statement such as, I choose to be inwardly calm and confident in my own heart. I choose to bring the energy of peace through my entire energy system. I choose peace in my heart, peace in my body, peace in my soul. I choose to be peaceful, calm, and loving. I choose to be peaceful, calm, and loving. Eyebrow, calm and loving. Side of the eye, I choose to be calm and loving. Under the eye, I choose to be calm and loving. Under the nose, I choose to be calm and loving. Under the lip, I choose to be calm and loving. Collarbone, I choose to be calm and loving. We'll skip the underarm point, go to the crown. I choose to be calm and loving. And bring both hands to heart. Right hand over left or left hand over right, either is fine. Feel that touch over your heart. close your eyes and allow that sense of calm and love to fill your heart. And then expand from the heart up through your chest, down through your solar plexus, up through the throat, your face, down through the solar plexus. Allow that sense of peace and love to literally fill your entire being. Extend outside of the body to the field around you, and then let that energy literally flow outward to fill the room or the area where you are, to fill the space outside of your home or outside of where you're located, to fill your community, the region around you, your state or province, your country, beyond the borders, and literally just fill the energy field of the planet. And then bring an image, perhaps a flag of the Ukraine, as your focus object, to bathe that focus object with the love, the calm, the peace that you have created in your heart. Hold that energetic space for as long as you feel comfortable. I would suggest at least 10 minutes, but 1 minute, 30 seconds, whatever you can comfortably maintain. Feel that energy in your heart, extend it out so that you, me, and everyone who is listening to this podcast holds the intention for peace in Ukraine, in Eastern Europe, and in Russia as well. When you're done, bring awareness back to this present moment. Stretch, yawn, sigh. You may choose to close your eyes and give thanks to your source, and then continue with whatever activities you need to continue with. Are there other ways you can help create an energy field of peace and love? One successful method that has been used in previous intention experiments is straight-up meditation. And as the universe would have it, I just published a conversation that I had with a meditation trainer by the name of Chris Curran. Chris has created a method called the Lightness Meditation Method. Lightness Meditation Method. He has an amazing personal story, literally going from being homeless with no car and no hope, no prospects, to creating a successful business, a successful life where he's helped literally thousands of people. In my conversation with Chris, he shares exactly how to do the Lightness Meditation Method. There's a whole lot more information in that episode, and I do encourage you to listen. The podcast where you'll find that episode is Energy Healing for Wellbeing, with the episode title, Discover Lightness Meditation for Emotional and Spiritual Well-Being with Chris Curran. As I've so often done with episodes in this podcast, EFT Tapping Junction, I prepared a summary and guide for the information that Chris shared with us in that podcast, Energy Healing for Well-Being. The actual instructions that I have in that guide about doing the Lightness Meditation Method will make more sense if you do listen to my conversation with Chris. Whether you listen or not, you're welcome to get a copy of that guide. All you need to do is to create an email with the subject line Meditation Guide. You can leave the body of the email blank and send that email to me at cartermethod@gmail.com. cartermethod@gmail.com, and I will get that guide to you by return email. To listen to that episode, you can go to a brand new website I've created where all of my, or most of my podcasts are brought together in one place. And that website address is stressreliefradio.com, stressreliefradio.com. You'll find previous episodes of EFT Tapping Junction, all of the episodes of Energy Healing for Well-Being, and episodes from several other podcasts, all focused on health, happiness, spiritual well-being, and emotional well-being. You'll find that site at stressreliefradio.com, stressreliefradio.com, and then click on the menu item for podcasts. With that, I will extend a heartfelt thank you for joining me for this episode, and I do encourage you to participate in whatever way you feel comfortable to help create an energy field of peace for the people in Ukraine and indeed throughout Eastern Europe. Until our next visit together, your host here, Stephen Carter, and I wish you blessings in abundance.